The sleek silver ships appeared in Earth's sky without warning. 7 of them, each larger than the largest human aircraft carrier, positioned themselves over major cities. News channels across the globe broadcast the same images. Enormous vessels hovering silently, defying physics as understood by human science. In Geneva, the United Nations hastily assembled an emergency meeting. Representatives from all nations gathered, faces grim with concern. No one knew whether to prepare for friendship or war. "We should ready our defenses," argued General Alan Foster, pounding his fist on the table. "This could be an invasion." Lisa Harmon, the U.S. chief diplomat, shook her head. "We can't start with hostility. If they wanted to attack, they could have done so already." The debate ended when the main doors swung open. 3 figures entered, clearly not human. They walked on 2 legs, but their blue-tinted skin and elongated features marked them as something entirely different. The tallest one, with ornate markings on its face, stepped forward. "I am Zaxvor, representative of the Galactic Council," it announced in perfect English. "We have been observing your planet for some time." The room fell silent. First contact had officially begun. Over the next hours, Zaxvor explained that Earth was being invited to join the Galactic Council, a collection of advanced civilizations that governed this section of the galaxy. It sounded wonderful at first, this offer of advanced technology and cosmic brotherhood. But Lisa noticed concerning details. The way Zaxvor spoke of resource sharing and proper management of Earth's natural elements. The dismissive tone when discussing human technological achievements. The veiled references to what happened to planets that chose independence. During a break, Lisa pulled aside her assistant, Greg Wilson. "Something's wrong here. They're not talking to us as equals." Greg nodded. "I noticed that too. They keep referring to Earth as a developing asset rather than a sovereign world." When the meeting resumed, Lisa asked more pointed questions. What exactly would Earth's status be within this council? Would we have equal voting rights? Zaxvor's expression changed slightly. Earth would be classified as a Category 3 developing world. You would have representation through your assigned council patron. And who decides this classification? Lisa pressed. "It has already been decided," Zaxvor replied coldly. That evening, as world leaders discussed the situation, alarming reports came in. More alien ships had arrived. They were scanning Earth's mineral deposits, water supplies, and energy sources. No permission had been requested. President Karen Miller called an emergency session with her advisors. "They're not here to welcome us. They're assessing us for exploitation." Before dawn, Zaxvor delivered the Galactic Council's true intentions. Earth would become a protected resource world. Humans would be allowed to maintain their civilization under Council oversight, but all critical resources would be managed by Council authorities. "This is non-negotiable," Zaxvor stated. "Your cooperation will make the transition smoother for your people." General Foster leaned toward the President. "Madam President, we need to activate Plan Delta." Plan Delta, a military protocol developed after years of theoretical alien contact scenarios, was immediately put into motion. Hidden military bases around the world began powering up systems that had been built in secret. As Council ships positioned themselves in orbit, demanding Earth's surrender within 48 hours, humans weren't panicking. They were preparing. Lisa Harmon watched satellite footage of the alien armada and thought of humanity's bloody history. If there was one thing humans had mastered through millennia of conflict, it was warfare. These aliens had no idea what they had just awakened. "Send word to all nations," ordered President Miller. "Operation Defiance begins now." 48 hours after their arrival, the Galactic Council ships moved into aggressive formation. Their message broadcasted worldwide in all languages. Earth was now under Council protection. Resistance would be met with necessary pacification. In the Pentagon's underground war room, military leaders from around the world gathered. Maps displayed the locations of alien ships now positioning themselves over major cities. They've landed troops in Beijing, Moscow, and London, reported General Foster, pointing to red markers on the screen. Their ground forces are moving toward government buildings. Colonel Jack Warren, commander of the newly formed Earth Defense Force, studied the alien movements. Classic conquest strategy. Control the leadership, then presented as peaceful transition of power. President Miller addressed the somber group. Ladies and gentlemen, this is humanity's darkest hour, but we are not without options. Dr. Olivia Grant, head of advanced research, stepped forward with a metal briefcase. For 12 years, I've led a classified project studying alien technology recovered from smaller crafts that crashed on Earth. The room erupted in surprised chatter. Yes, we've had previous visitors, Dr. Grant continued. The government kept it quiet to prevent panic. But our research has yielded results. She opened the case, revealing strange devices. We've developed weapons that can penetrate their shields and communication systems that they can't detect. Colonel Warren nodded. That explains why I was ordered to train special forces in using tech we weren't supposed to have yet. Our plan is simple, President Miller said. We appear to surrender while activating our hidden defenses. The Council believes we're primitive. Our advantage is their underestimation. Across the planet, Council representatives entered capital cities, demanding formal surrender documents. In public, world leaders reluctantly signed. In secret, they activated resistance networks. Zaxwar addressed the United Nations, now filled with nervous diplomats and disguised Council guards. Your transition to Council protection has begun. Your cooperation has been noted and will result in favorable treatment. Lisa Harmon listened from the back row, her face carefully blank. In her pocket, a small device connected her to the resistance. She watched as Zaxvor outlined Earth's new reality. Resource extraction will begin immediately. Council-appointed managers will oversee each region. Your militaries will be disbanded. Your technology will be assessed for safety. Your educational systems will be updated to Council standards. Outside the UN building, alien ships deployed hovering platforms that began scanning city infrastructure. Council soldiers, tall and equipped with advanced armor, established checkpoints. In suburban homes across America, ordinary citizens opened sealed packages delivered months earlier. Inside each, instructions, communication devices, and the locations of hidden weapons caches. Former Marine Sam Mitchell gathered neighbors in his basement in Ohio. This is what we trained for. We stay quiet, gather intelligence, and wait for the signal. Meanwhile, Council ships reported strange energy readings from Antarctica. When they investigated, they found nothing but ice and snow. They didn't detect the massive facility hidden 1 mile below, where Earth's largest secret project hummed to life. Dr. Grant stood before the central console, surrounded by the world's top scientists. Project Prometheus is operational. Our shield technology now covers 60% of our hidden facilities. In orbit, 3 Council battleships suddenly lost contact with their ground forces. Communications officers couldn't explain the interference. On the Council command ship, Drell Khan, fleet commander, received disturbing reports. Humans are surrendering too easily, he noted. Increased surveillance. Something doesn't feel right. That night, as Council forces celebrated their easy victory, the first resistance strike occurred. 3 Council supply depots simultaneously exploded in perfectly coordinated attacks. The human counterattack had begun. 2 weeks into the occupation, Drell Khan paced the command deck of his flagship. The holographic map before him showed red alerts across Earth's surface. What should have been a simple subjugation had turned into a nightmare. Explain how primitives managed to destroy another transport ship, he demanded of his science officer. Unknown, Commander. Their weapons shouldn't be capable of penetrating our shields. Yet they are. On Earth, the resistance was growing stronger. In Chicago, Sam Mitchell led a team of former military personnel through sewers beneath alien checkpoints. Each carried weapons that Dr. Grant's team had modified with recovered alien technology. Remember, Sam whispered to his squad, Aim for the joints in their armor. That's where our weapons can penetrate. The squad emerged from a manhole near the aliens' Chicago Command Center, formerly City Hall. Guards patrolled the perimeter, their attention focused outward. None looked up as shadows moved across the rooftops. Sam gave the signal. Simultaneously, 20 teams across Chicago launched their attack. The aliens' superior technology meant little against humans who knew their city's every hidden passage and blind spot. By dawn, Chicago had become the first major city reclaimed by human forces. Council soldiers retreated in disarray, shocked by the ferocity and coordination of the attack. In orbit, Drell Khan received the news with growing anger. How is this possible? Their military capabilities were assessed as minimal. His aide approached nervously. "Commander, we've discovered something concerning. Humans appear to be using modified versions of our own technology." "Impossible. Their civilization is barely space-capable. Evidence suggests they've been studying our technology for decades. They may have had previous contact with other species." On the dark side of the moon, Colonel Warren supervised as Earth's secret space fleet powered up. For 30 years, nations had publicly competed in space while privately cooperating to build these ships. Sleek black vessels designed using a combination of human ingenuity and reverse-engineered alien technology. "Status report," Warren ordered. "All 20 ships operational." "Sir." "Crews ready. Weapons systems online." "Remember," Warren addressed the pilots, "we have one advantage. They don't know we exist. Use the stealth systems Dr. Grant developed. Hit their supply lines first." In her underground laboratory, Dr. Olivia Grant monitored data from sensors placed around the world. Her team had made a critical discovery. The Council forces are vulnerable to certain electromagnetic frequencies, she explained to President Miller over a secure channel. Their neural networks get disrupted. We're deploying pulse emitters in all reclaimed territories. The Council's carefully planned occupation was unraveling. Their superior numbers meant little in the face of human adaptability. Their advanced weapons couldn't find enemies who melted into the landscape. Their communications were increasingly compromised by human hackers who had quickly learned their systems. In Mexico City, Council troops fell suddenly unconscious when resistance fighters activated Dr. Grant's pulse emitters. In Berlin, alien vehicles mysteriously lost power and were quickly captured intact. In Sydney, Council commanders found their secure orders replaced with contradictory instructions. Across Earth, the pattern repeated. Humans fighting with unexpected knowledge of alien weaknesses, using tactics no conquered species had ever employed before. Drell Khan finally sent an emergency message to the Council. "The situation on Earth is not as reported. Humans are far more dangerous than assessed. Request immediate reinforcements." The Council's response was cold. "Your failure reflects poorly on your command. Contain the situation or be replaced." As Drell Khan's message transmitted across space, Colonel Warren gave the order. Earth's hidden fleet rose from the lunar surface, engines silent, weapons ready. The counterattack was about to reach space. The Council's supply fleet approached Mars orbit, unaware of the danger lurking in the shadow of Phobos. 20 Earth vessels, their hulls painted with light-absorbing material, waited in perfect formation. Colonel Warren stood on the bridge of the lead ship, watching the alien vessels grow larger on the view screen. "All ships maintain stealth protocol," he ordered quietly. "Target their engines and communication arrays. We need 3 of those ships intact." The Council fleet, 15 ships strong, moved with the confidence of an undefeated power. They had no reason for caution. Humans weren't supposed to have spacecraft capable of leaving Earth orbit. "Execute on my mark," Warren said, his finger hovering over the command console. 3, 2, 1, now. 20 Earth ships suddenly emerged from hiding, weapons firing in perfect coordination. The Council fleet had no time to raise shields. The first volley disabled engines and weapons on 12 ships. The remaining 3 frantically tried to send distress signals, but found their communications jammed. On the Council command ship, the captain watched in horror as unknown vessels swarmed his fleet. Impossible. Humans have no space combat capability. Warren's voice came through on all Council frequencies. Attention Council vessels. Power down immediately or be destroyed. You have 30 seconds to comply. The Council ships, crippled and outmaneuvered, surrendered. For the first time in Council history, their ships had been captured by a species they had attempted to conquer. Back on Earth, engineer Nathan Wells led a team into one of the captured Council vessels. His background in aerospace engineering made him the perfect choice to understand alien technology. Careful with those control panels, he instructed his team. We need to understand how they work without triggering any fail-safes. Within hours, Wells discovered that the alien ships operated on principles similar to theories Earth scientists had been developing. Their advantage wasn't superior science, he reported to Dr. Grant. They're just a few hundred years ahead of us. We can work with this. Teams of engineers and scientists swarmed over the captured vessels, learning their systems, adapting controls for human use. What might have taken years took only days, driven by necessity and human determination. On the Council homeworld, the High Council received news of the disaster at Mars. The leader, Supreme Counselor Venzar, could hardly believe the reports. How could primitive humans defeat our fleet? He demanded. His advisors had no good answer. They shouldn't have had the technology. Our intelligence was wrong. Send the 7th Battle Group, Venzar ordered. This insult cannot stand. He didn't know that humans had already captured the Council's communication codes. Dr. Grant's team intercepted his order. Colonel Warren smiled when he heard the news. Perfect. They're sending more ships right to us. Within 2 weeks, the first 3 captured Council ships had been modified for human crews. Wells stood proudly on the bridge of the largest vessel, now renamed Defiance. All systems functioning, Colonel. We've replaced their control interfaces with our own. Weapons and engines at full capacity. Warren nodded. Begin training operations. The Council thinks they're sending reinforcements to crush us. Instead, they're delivering more ships to our fleet. In Geneva, world leaders received news of the space victory with renewed hope. President Miller addressed the Emergency Council. For the first time, we have taken the fight to them. Our next step is to establish contact with other worlds that might have suffered under Council rule. Lisa Harmon stepped forward. We've decrypted their star charts. There are at least 12 other civilizations currently under Council protection. If they're being treated like us, they might become allies. As Earth prepared for the arrival of the Council's battle group, humanity had already changed the rules of engagement. The Council had expected an easy conquest of primitive beings. Instead, they had awakened a world that had spent its history preparing for war. The counterattack had only just begun. Ambassador Maria Rodriguez stepped onto the surface of Teleris, the first human to set foot on a world beyond the solar system. The captured Council ship that brought her here waited in orbit, crewed by Earth's finest pilots. Her mission was humanity's most important diplomatic initiative ever. The Telarians, tall beings with golden skin and 4 arms, watched her approach. Their world had been under Council rule for nearly a century, their resources stripped, their people treated as second-class citizens in their own star system. I bring greetings from Earth, Maria said, using the translation device Dr. Grant had modified from Council technology. We come seeking alliance against our common oppressor. The Telarian leader, Kelvon, studied her carefully. Your species was only recently targeted by the Council, yet you've already fought back successfully. How is this possible? Humans have one advantage, Maria explained. We've spent our history fighting each other. When a real enemy appeared, we were already prepared for war. News of Earth's resistance had spread through Council communications channels. Whispers of human victories had reached even distant worlds. For subjugated species, it sparked dangerous hope. The Council told us resistance was futile, Kelvon said. They've ruled the galaxy for millennia. No one challenges them. Maria smiled. No one had. Until now. Meanwhile, on a council border world, a secret meeting took place. Dr. Grant sat across from a council scientist named Lortek, a member of the Zentari race. The Zentari had been the first species conquered by the council thousands of years ago. Now they served as the council's scientific corps. "What you're proposing is treason," Lortek whispered, his thin fingers nervously tapping the table. "We call it liberation," Dr. Grant replied. "Your people deserve freedom. All council subjects do." Lortek pushed a data crystal across the table. "These are the access codes for the council wormhole network. With these, you can communicate instantly across the galaxy. Use them wisely." The wormhole communication network was the council's greatest advantage, allowing them to coordinate their vast empire. With access to it, Earth could contact all subjugated worlds simultaneously. On Earth, Colonel Warren oversaw the installation of the first wormhole communicator in a bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains. When activated, it connected Earth to 27 other worlds. "Broadcast on all frequencies," he ordered. "Send the message." Across the galaxy, oppressed civilizations received Earth's call to arms. "The Council can be defeated. Join us, and together we will create a new galactic order based on equality." The response was immediate. 3 star systems openly declared rebellion. 7 others secretly pledged support. The Council, for the first time in its existence, faced a coordinated multi-world uprising. On the Council homeworld, emergency sessions lasted for days. Supreme Counselor Venzar faced angry demands for explanation. "How could primitives access our wormhole network?" one counselor demanded. "They must have help from within," another suggested. Venzar slammed his fist down. "This ends now. Prepare the main battle fleet. We will crush Earth so thoroughly that no world will dare rebel again." What he didn't know was that one council member race, the Talarians, had already switched sides. Their representative sent word of the council's plans directly to Maria Rodriguez. "They're sending everything they have," she informed Earth's leadership. "The entire council battle fleet will reach Earth in 2 weeks." President Miller looked around the war room at the faces of humanity's defenders. "Then we have 2 weeks to prepare our surprise." Lisa Harmon, now coordinating with alien allies, smiled confidently. "The Council thinks this is a simple rebellion to crush. They don't realize it's actually the end of their empire." Across the solar system, Earth's forces and their new allies moved into position. The Talarians provided advanced shield technology. The Zentari shared weapons designs. Earth contributed tactical brilliance and fierce determination. As the Council fleet approached, the trap was set. The decisive battle for Earth's freedom and the galaxy's was about to begin. The Council battle fleet emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. 300 warships, the largest fleet ever assembled, approached Earth with unstoppable force. At their center flew the massive dreadnought Eternal Dominion. Command ship of High Commander Zolthep. "Display the human defenses," Zolthep ordered, his scaled face showing contempt. The tactical display showed only 50 Earth vessels scattered throughout the solar system. Nothing that could possibly challenge the might of his fleet. "Pathetic," he said. "Begin the attack. No mercy." The Council fleet moved forward in perfect formation, weapons charged. Their intelligence showed nothing about the small asteroid belt they approached. Nothing about the thousands of stealth mines hidden there. Nothing about the 50 Talarian warships waiting in the shadow of Jupiter. Colonel Warren watched from the bridge of the Defiance as the Council fleet entered the kill zone. "Activate the mines," he ordered calmly. Across the asteroid belt, thousands of devices suddenly powered up. They weren't explosive mines. They were Dr. Peter Kim's revolutionary shield disruptors. As the energy wave washed over the Council fleet, ship after ship reported shield failures. "Now," Warren commanded. Earth's fleet launched from hidden positions, weapons firing. From the dark side of Jupiter, Talarian warships emerged. From beneath the clouds of Venus, Centauri attack craft rose. The Council fleet found itself under attack from 3 directions at once. On the Eternal Dominion, alarms blared as shields failed. Impossible, Zolthep shouted. How did they disable our shields? His tactical officer had no answer. Sir, we're detecting ships of multiple designs. Earth has allies. All vessels, defensive formation. Zolthep ordered. Focus fire on Earth's fleet. But the Council's carefully planned battle tactics meant nothing now. For centuries, they had relied on superior technology, not superior strategy. Humans, who had spent millennia perfecting the art of war, outmaneuvered them at every turn. Earth ships darted between the larger Council vessels, firing precisely at critical systems. Tellarian cruisers provided heavy fire support. Centauri fighters swarmed like insects, disabling engines and weapons. Warren studied the battle display on his bridge. The dreadnought is the key. If we capture Zolthep, the rest will surrender. He opened a channel to his best strike team, led by Major Frank Cooper, waiting in assault shuttles. Begin boarding operation, Warren ordered. 20 sleek shuttles launched from Earth vessels, racing toward the Eternal Dominion. Council point defense systems caught half of them, but 10 reached the massive ship's hull. Cutting tools quickly opened access points. Inside the dreadnought, Council security forces rushed to repel boarders. They had superior weapons but faced humans who had mastered close-quarter combat on their violent homeworld. Major Cooper led his team through the corridors, following schematics provided by Tellarian intelligence. Command center is 2 levels up, he told his squad. Remember, we need Zolthep alive. On the command deck, Zolthep watched in horror as his fleet was decimated. Ships were surrendering or being destroyed across the system. How is this happening? He demanded. They're just humans. The doors to the command center exploded inward. Major Cooper and his team stormed in, weapons raised. High Commander Zolthep, Cooper said, in the name of Earth and the Free Worlds Alliance, you are relieved of command. Across the solar system, Council ships received the transmission of their High Commander's capture. One by one, they powered down weapons and surrendered. Warren couldn't keep the pride from his voice as he contacted Earth. Madam President, the Council fleet has surrendered. High Commander Zolthep is in custody. In the underground command center on Earth, President Miller closed her eyes in relief. Casualties. Significant, but far less than expected, Warren replied. The shield technology worked perfectly. As Earth celebrated its victory, the captured Council communications network broadcast the news across the galaxy. On dozens of worlds, oppressed species rose up against their Council overseers. The empire that had stood for millennia crumbled in a single day, all because they had underestimated one species from a small blue planet. 1 month after the battle, representatives from 27 worlds gathered in the newly constructed Galactic Assembly Hall in Geneva. The massive dome, built with a combination of Earth and alien technology, symbolized the new era of cooperation. Ambassador Maria Rodriguez stood at the central podium, facing delegates from across the galaxy. Some were former Council races, others had been subjugated worlds. All now sat as equals. Today marks the beginning of a new chapter in galactic history, Maria began. The Council's reign of exploitation has ended. In its place, we established the Galactic Alliance of Free Worlds. High Commander Zolthep, now a prisoner of war, watched from a secure viewing area. His once proud posture was gone, replaced by the slumped shoulders of defeat. I still don't understand, he said to Lisa Harmon, who stood guard. How did primitives defeat the greatest empire in history? Lisa smiled. You should have studied our history before invading. Humans have one special talent. We never give up. In the main chamber, Maria continued outlining the Alliance's founding principles. No world may claim dominion over another. All member species have equal voting rights. Resources will be fairly traded, not seized. The delegates applauded. For many, it was the first time they had experienced true representation. On Earth, Recovery efforts continued. Dr. Olivia Grant led teams integrating alien technology with human innovation. The result was an unprecedented technological boom. "We've advanced centuries in just months," she explained to President Miller during a tour of her new research facility. "Clean energy, advanced medicine, faster than light travel, all now within our reach." The president nodded. "And our defense systems? The best in the galaxy," Dr. Grant assured her. "No one will threaten Earth again." In orbit, Nathan Wells supervised construction of Earth's first true interstellar vessel. Unlike the captured Council ships, this one was designed specifically for humans, incorporating the best of all available technologies. "She'll be ready for her maiden voyage next month," he told Colonel Warren during an inspection. "Capable of reaching the edge of the galaxy within weeks." Warren ran his hand along a bulkhead. "What are we calling her?" "Humanity's Hope," Wells replied. Seemed fitting. Back in Geneva, the Alliance vote was unanimous. Earth would chair the new governing council for the first 5-year term, with Maria Rodriguez serving as first speaker. "Earth has proven itself not just as a warrior, but as a unifier," said Kelvon of Teleris. "We trust humans to lead with justice where the council led with oppression." In the weeks that followed, exploration vessels departed Earth for the first time, seeking not conquest, but contact. Teams of diplomats, scientists, and cultural experts ventured to remote systems, establishing relations with previously unknown civilizations. 6 months after the Council's defeat, Maria stood on the observation deck of the Alliance headquarters, watching ships from a dozen worlds dock at the orbiting spaceport. Sam Mitchell, now serving as head of Alliance security, joined her. "Did you ever imagine this when we were fighting in the sewers of Chicago?" Maria shook her head. "Never. I thought we were just trying to survive. I never dreamed we'd end up leading a galactic revolution." "That's the thing about humans," Sam replied. "We surprise everyone, even ourselves." On the former Council homeworld, now just one member of the Alliance, the new government dismantled the last monuments to imperial rule. In their place rose memorials to those who had suffered under Council oppression. And in deep space, at the edge of explored territory, the Humanity's Hope prepared for its historic jump to a previously unreachable galaxy. Captain Lisa Harmon settled into the command chair and addressed her multinational, multi-species crew. "What we do now defines not just humanity's future, but the future of all Alliance worlds," she said. "We go forward not as conquerors, but as explorers and friends." As stars streaked past the viewports, humanity took its place among the stars, not as the primitives the Council had dismissed, but as the architects of a more just galactic civilization. The species that had been underestimated had become the one that transformed the galaxy forever.